All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Can everyone hear me okay? All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, welcome to City Council meeting for City of North College Hill. It is February 5th, and we will go ahead and get started. First off, if you do wish to address council, there is a sign-in sheet on that table back there, at which we will be taking the order for public participation. With that, I do ask everyone we stand for the prayer for NCH City Council and then the Pledge of Allegiance. God our Father, we are all your servants. We trust in your mercy and love. We trust also in your guidance. Direct the meetings of this council of North College Hill to make good decisions for all the people who live in our city. Give all the members of this council wisdom and insight to know what is best for our city. Help us to be fair and just in all our decisions. Bless us all to do the very best we can. With your help and guidance, we pray this in your name. Amen. Amen. Call this meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, well, good evening, everyone. As we get going here, our clerk, Mr. Hedger, is not here this evening, so I will take care of all of the order of the meeting. And so I will start with the roll call. Ms. Zorb.
Here.
Ms. DeWald.
Here.
Ms. Dukestein.
Present.
Ms. Alexander.
Here.
Ms. Brunner.
Here.
Mr. Davis. Ms. Underwood.
Here. Mr. President,
Yes, Ms. Underwood.
did you hear from Mr. Davis?
I did not hear from Mr. Davis.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood.
I move that we excuse Mr. Davis.
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein.
I'll second that.
Motion by Ms. Underwood. Second by Ms. Dukestein to excuse Mr. Davis from tonight's meeting. Discussion?
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb.
I would just like to point out to council that this is his second consecutive occurrence of what I constitute a no-call, no-show. And I can tell you that any job that I've ever had in my life, be it professional, be it elected, when you are no-call, no-show, you do not get excused. And that's how I feel about that.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood.
he's new to this. I understand Ms. Zorb's sentiments. I agree. No call, no show is not good, but I would just like to give him just a little bit of grace. And, if it continues to occur, I won't be supportive of that, but for today, I just
Mr.
would like to
President,
offer him a little bit of grace.
I'm sorry. I thought
Ms.
you were-
DeWald.
I have reached out to him several times with no response. I've even texted him and said, please let me know you've got this message, and I get nothing. He's called me before. My number should be in his phone, but I even announce who I am when I text him. So I'm done.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, I'll call the roll. Ms. Zorb.
No.
Ms. DeWald.
No.
Ms. Dukestein.
Yes.
Ms. Alexander.
Yes.
Ms. Brunner.
No.
And Ms. Underwood.
Yes.
It is a tie. I vote no. Motion fails 3-4. All right, now we do have some special guests here tonight for a swearing-in ceremony of new police officers, so we'll turn it over to the mayor and the police chief.
Good evening, and, oh, this isn't working.
Well, it's
thanks.
still working for TV, so.
Okay, sorry. This is another joyous evening for us. Anytime we can swear in 2 members of our family, we're excited for that, and I would like to welcome you guys and thank you for being a part of the North College Hill Police Force family. Who would like to go first? Step up. If you would repeat after me and raise your right hand. I, and state your name,
I, Christopher Corcoran,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform the duties bestowed upon me
perform the duties bestowed upon me
as a North College Hill police officer.
as a North College Hill police officer.
I will have the courage to hold myself
I will have the courage to hold myself
and others accountable for our actions.
and others accountable for our actions.
I will use my character and integrity
I will use my character and integrity
to uphold the Constitution,
to uphold the Constitution,
laws, and the public trust for the city of North College Hill.
laws, and the public trust for the city of North College Hill.
Congratulations. If you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Tyler Wilkerson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform the duties bestowed upon me
perform the duties bestowed upon me
as a North College Hill police officer.
as a North College Hill police officer.
I will have the courage to hold myself
I will have the courage to hold myself
and others accountable
and others accountable
for our actions.
for our actions.
I will use my character and integrity
I will use my character and integrity
to uphold the Constitution,
to uphold the Constitution,
laws, and the public trust for the city of North College Hill.
laws, and the public trust for the city of North College Hill.
Congratulations.
So I'm going to be short because, let's face it, everybody hears from me plenty. So I'm going to turn it over to them one at a time to tell you a little bit about themselves, as well as, gentlemen, this is your opportunity to thank some of those folks who got you here today. Our council and the folks in the audience don't necessarily know all the time that it is more like a marathon or a triathlon sometimes to get here than it is a sprint. And you can't do that alone. So your family and friends and the folks that helped you get here today, this is your opportunity in front of these fine folks here to thank them quickly for standing behind you and helping you along that marathon. So first, Chris.
Thank you for this opportunity. I should thank my wife, Jessica. I got started in this game a little bit later in life than most. I'm 42, so I kind of paused a career and went to the police academy, and Jessica supported me while I went to Butler Tech to pursue that dream. So I need to thank her and my kids for their support. My in-laws are here. They've been supportive of all this too, so I should thank them. My parents who can't be here, I'm from Missouri, so they're back home. I need to thank them. Everybody's been great. I'm going to thank Tyler too. Tyler told me about a job here, so thank you, Tyler. We went to the academy together, and I look forward to working with all you folks here in North College Hill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Tyler Wilkerson. I actually have a rather semi-long history here. I interned with the North College Hill Police Department when I was in college. From there, I went on to become a part-time records clerk while I was in the academy. And then again, I had the opportunity to go to the Highway Patrol Academy on behalf of the North College Hill Police Department and finish that up. And I'm very excited to work here with all the great people. I'm very thankful for my family and my fiance, Erin. They've all been super supportful of me during all this time, and I know it wasn't easy. And I know it's not going to be easy, so I just want to thank you for your continued support. To the citizens, I hope to give you the best I can in providing a full service police service to you all and make this community a little safer. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next item that we have on tonight's agenda is to approve tonight's agenda.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I'll second that.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
can I amend my,
Uh-oh, what'd you find?
I just realized there were 3 names on the agenda.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we
I'm
only
sorry.
swore in 2.
I forgot about that. So,
Oh,
yeah, please just withdraw your motion
Yes, withdrawn.
and then make the motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to remove the name Mike
Reschke.
Reschke from the agenda.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
also on that same note, what did we decide with the finance director under the administrative reports? Didn't we decide to remove that title?
I think we finished that meeting.
Hmm?
We didn't finish that. meeting.
Yeah, I don't believe we finished that discussion.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion from Ms. Zorb to amend tonight's agenda by removing the name of Mike Reschke from the swearing-in ceremony that just happened.
I'll second that.
The second is by Ms. DeWald. Any discussion? All right, motion to amend the agenda by removing Mike Reschke's name by Ms. Zorb, second by Ms. DeWald. I will call the roll. Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. DeWald,
Yes.
Ms. Dukestein,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Brunner,
Yes.
Ms. Underwood.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb,
I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald,
I'll second that.
motion by Ms. Zorb, second by Ms. DeWald to accept the agenda as amended. Any discussion? I will call the roll. Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. DeWald,
Yes.
Ms. Dukestein,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Brunner,
Yes.
Ms. Underwood.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is the meeting minutes from the council meeting on January 16th.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I contacted Mr. Hedger, it was late in the afternoon, under the minutes where it says minutes and motion to accept the agenda, where it says hit Ms. Zorb, Ms. DeWald to accept the agenda,
Yes.
and it should say minutes. So it's just it's right under the agenda where it's a report.
I see it. Yes, ma'am.
So it's just a minor thing that needs to be corrected.
And you said you've already spoke to Mr. Hedger?
Yes, and
Okay.
he said he would take care of it.
Thank you.
So on that note, do you still want me to amend it or let it just go?
Mr. Dieters, it's worded wrong.
As long as
As long as it
Mr.
gets
Hedger fixes
corrected?
it,
Yep.
fine.
Okay,
You know,
great.
Just a typo.
Thank you.
On that note, Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald,
I move to accept the minutes.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb,
a second.
motion by Ms. DeWald, second by Ms. Zorb to accept the January 16th minutes. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. DeWald,
Yes.
Ms. Dukestein,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Ms. Brunner,
Yes.
and Ms. Underwood.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. All right, next item on the agenda is communication. I'm not aware of any communications. Ms. Eke, are you aware of anything with Mr. Hedger not here this evening?
I am not.
Thank you. So we'll move to council committees, starting with City Community Development and Recreation.
Mr. President, we haven't had a meeting this month. Our next meeting is February the 12th at 6:30 p.m. here at the Senior Center.
Talk louder, they can't hear you.
Our next meeting is February 12th at the Senior Center at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you, Ms. Brunner. Next is Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance has also not met, and we will proceed with our next meeting on February the 12th at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you, Ms. Dukes-Dean. Rules and Public Policy.
That's you.
That's you.
I thought I was I thought I was public safety.
Oh, that is me. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I was like, that's you.
When you guys get it
Sorry.
straightened out, let me know.
It's a party going on.
I don't even know what's going on. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. We have not met, and we didn't meet in the month of January. Our next meeting will be February 26th, either at 6:30 or 7:30. I'm still trying to work that out with Ms. Dewald.
Thank you. And then Public Safety.
Mr. President, public safety has not met this year. We are hoping to have one soon, but we have other circumstances that we need to work through first before we can commit to that meeting. Our next meeting is February 26th at 7:30 p.m., hopefully, or maybe 6:30.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is ad hoc reports. Does anyone have an ad hoc report this evening? Hearing none, we'll move to administrative reports. Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Thank you,
Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Considering our crowd tonight, and I'm sure we have a lot of people who would like to address council, I will go ahead and refer my report to Ms. Iki if she has anything.
I don't know why.
You're going to have to speak up. We can't hear you.
Okay, I don't have a report.
No report from the mayor. Any questions for the mayor? All right, we'll move to the city administrator's report. Ms. Iki.
The only thing I have this evening is we are still experiencing a spike in our spam emails, so be very careful of things that you open. If it looks suspicious or if it has attachments that maybe you're not expecting, don't click on them. We're not sure why, but there's been a spike after this first of the year. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Iki? All right, next up is the law director's report.
Mr. President, I have no report this evening. I'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for Mr. Dieters? Okay, and then we do have the finance director on the agenda. The finance director is not here, so we'll move to call of members, and we'll start with Ms. Zorb.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing to report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. DeWald?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing.
Thank you. Ms. Dukes-Dean?
I would like to piggyback on what Ms. Iki said about the email. We are experiencing an influx of spam email, and I personally decided to unsubscribe to some of the emails that I was getting. And you have to be very careful because when you unsubscribe, and it takes you to another website, it actually has bullet points of things, and it says subscribe to all of these. So you need to actually go in and make sure that you unsubscribe. It's very tricky. The other thing that I would like to say is congratulations to both the officers. It's exciting when we have new officers on staff. And I'd also like to remind council, I'm not the jury or the judge, but I have heard some very unprofessional comments about our colleagues, and it could not have come from anyone else but the people sitting at this desk because it's specific to council business. I would hope that we would keep things in executive session, and if you have opinions about your colleagues, you should go straight to them as opposed to speaking to others about them. It is professional, and it is the right thing to do. It is ethical. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Alexander?
I would like to say congratulations to our new officers. It's always a good thing for our family to grow. And help us feel safer in our community. And also, I would like to say Happy Black History Month. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. Ms. Brunner?
I just want to say be safe out there, everyone, and congratulations to the new officers.
Thank you. And finally, Ms. Underwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to say congratulations to Officer Corcoran and Officer Wilkerson, and welcome to North College Hill. I think that's all I have.
Thank you. All right, so that brings us to remarks from the audience. So I did see a couple of the names are scratched off, so we will start out with James DeGroot. Please take the lectern. Please state your name, your address, and you will be given 3 minutes. Would you like a warning when you have 1 minute to go? Okay, I will try and do that for you.
Try not to be too loquacious. A public speaker I am not, and I'm about to prove that to you. I'm here on behalf of the NCH Historical Society. We were surprised to find the
Do we
building
have your
locked.
name, please?
Pardon me?
You say your name?
I did. Did I not? James DeGroot, 3180 Lake Point Court. All right. And longtime lover of NCH, graduate 1963, North College Hill, and my heart is near and dear to this community. Grew up, as a matter of fact, grew up in a house where Marshall Dummel had been shot some years earlier. Sunday on Hamilton. That's where I was born. And so I go way back. I consider Mayberry, we consider Mayberry our very own NCH, our very own Mayberry RFD. It's that close and near and dear to our hearts. We have quite an accumulation of factual memorabilia, records, photos that date way back to the turn of the century. I'm talking about police blotters that were written in fountain pen because the ballpoint pen did not come on the scene yet. We have lots and lots of stuff, as we call it. And we're trying to grow this society. We're trying to get more members to attend. And right now, we're a society without a home. The building is being condemned for purposes of asbestos and black mold, I think. And so we must exit. And we're sorry to see that go. We paid no rent. We paid no utilities. We've paid nothing. We've been at the good graces of North College Hill, and we thank you for that. But in that direction, to help us perpetuate this historical society, we'd like to prey upon the sense of good faith and compassion of of North College Hill Council, and perhaps collaboratively we can move forward. Maybe we can call on you to help us find a new home, relocate. We don't take up a lot of space. Our blueprint is not that large as far as square footage that's required. And please stop in sometime when we get together, if not before. We'd love for everybody to know what we have in that room. It's amazing. You would be amazed at the history you will see. When Simpson Avenue was nothing but trees and a dirt road, you wouldn't recognize it today, as compared to what it was years ago. And I remember North College Hill back in the day when we were kids. It was hearkening back to a bygone era when times were a little more tranquil, and kids said, "Yes, ma'am," and "No, sir." And we hope to preserve that kind of integrity in our society. And we've even had students from North College Hill come up as a class to visit the room, and they were all pretty much amazed at what they saw there. And they were in awe, literally. And so in closing, I'd just like to say that we're a society without a home. We have to get all of our stuff out of there. We're not sure how we're going to do it, where we're going to put it. If you have any suggestions, please, let's communicate with one another, and let's make it a collaborative effort to carry on what we feel is a very, very important society to maintain the history of North College Hill as we all knew it at one time or another. Thanks for your time. Mrs. Mayor, Mr. President, members of council, I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeGroot.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Linda Bronwert. Linda, please adjust the microphone too so that I know we can't tell that it's working, but they say it is working.
Testing, testing. Is it working?
She gives you.
Oh, I can do that. I'm Linda Braunward, Linda Tennis Braunward. I've been here, my family's been here for 100 years. I have history here. All these people do. I would hope a lot of you do and realize how special our room is. There's a former mayor here. We at one time, well, we started out at City Hall. Then we went to a room about the size of a bathroom at NCH Methodist Church. Then we went to Goodman Avenue School. And then Dan Brooks was our mayor and says, Linda, you're going to have to leave over here because they're doing Head Start program in our room. I said, Dan, what are we going to do? He brought us over to Clovernook, had the public works guy move us. That was, I don't know how many years ago, and we thought we were old, that we couldn't move everything. Well, now we are old, and we had 1 day's notice. That, I can't even believe the disrespect on us. I mean, but we knew the building has been bad for years, and nobody ever did anything with it or whatever. And I'm really surprised, Tracy, that you don't have a report tonight when this has happened.
Go ahead.
And I heard that it was your decision, no one else's, and nobody can talk about it. And one of our members received something from Channel 12, this whole report about the building. Well, I don't think it was that big of a I mean, we all knew it wasn't in good shape.
Well, Linda, it was partly my decision, and we were told at the very first meeting not to discuss it. We have not had a meeting since the initial first meeting. In good conscience, that building could not be left open. From our report that was sent to whomever sent it to Channel 12, if you read the report even said that we should not be in the building. From my understanding, not from my understanding, you were not told that you had to leave that particular day. I was not in your conversation with Ms. Iki, but I was privy to the letter that was sent out. It said to take your personal belongings. That building has mold, not just mold, but asbestos, and it is airborne. When we get a report, and when a report hits my desk, I have to weigh whether or not, for the health and safety of whomever is in that building. And at this particular time, that building is unsafe for anyone. I did not give a report because I knew that we have many people here tonight who wanted to speak, and I wanted to hear what your thoughts and your feelings were. But I stand on a decision that building needs to be closed. You're right, it has had problems for years. We did not tell anyone that they had to get their things out. We, as a matter of fact, want you to keep your things there. We've been contacted, or I've been contacted from a couple of agencies that want to work with us in order to find you somewhere to go to preserve your things. So
Thank you.
you're not forgotten. That's a little insensitive for anyone to think that we would just kick you out. You have to weigh and to say what's in the best interest of people there. Personally, for myself, I can't speak for anyone else, but I do not want to be in a building where the asbestos is airborne, which is what they were telling us. It's not just confined to the old building. It's in the administrative side as well. And it's with asbestos, anyone knows that you have to eliminate it. And it's not healthy for people to be there breathing in the air of the asbestos. So I stand on that building needs to be shut down until, as a group, myself, Ms. Iki, law director, and council, until we come to a decision. Our intention was not to have anyone set out on the street, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't want to speak for the conversation that you had with Ms. Iki. I do believe that you were allowed to go in that weekend. So
We didn't take one thing. Not one thing.
So maybe it was just a misunderstanding with taking your things out. That would be very insensitive for us to say, you get your stuff out. We love the Historical Society. We love the fact that the DAV is there, but you have to be safe.
I understand completely, but I would think you would have an immediate meeting trying to find us a place to go.
I do believe Ms. Iki offered, we talked about that as well, that you could meet here.
We can meet here, but what about our stuff?
Well, as I said, I've been contacted and working with other organizations to see if we can find your location for your things. No one's going to take your things.
This would be great. It really, I think it would be great, to tell you the truth.
It might, yeah.
Or Goodman, you know, where they have the Board of Education meetings.
That's school property. We don't own that. We don't have anything to do with the Board of Education building. That is owned by the school district. We don't own that building. North College Hill City Schools owns that.
Well, can't they work with us, or?
They have classes in that room. That's a classroom. That building is a school again. So it's
Bottom.
no, and they use the upstairs for their alternative classes. For if a student gets suspended, that's where they go.
But I thought that was the whole bottom.
No, the whole bottom is for, they have particular classes downstairs. Upstairs is the alternative to suspension. So if a student is suspended from either one of the buildings, mainly the middle school and the high school, that's where their classes are.
Well, we're just pleading for a place to put our stuff.
I understand.
I mean, this is really hard for us.
I mean, it's not that's not an easy decision. It's nothing that you take lightly. And as I stated, you have to consider the health and the well-being. I understand there's there are valuable things in there, and we would hate for those things to to deteriorate or anything. That's not.
But as the mayor, why when there's only, what, 3 groups, DAV, us, and American Legion?
So would you have rather that I just said, let them stay in there?
No, I think you should have came to us and say, let's have a meeting. This is what we're going to do.
So actually in my initial conversation with Ms. Iki.
With who?
With Ms. Iki, Jennifer.
Oh. She called me that Friday.
In our initial conversation, again, I don't know what conversation you had with her because I wasn't there. In our initial conversation, we need to get with the DAV and the Historical Society. We need to talk to them. So I'm not sure.
She called me that Friday and said, the building is closing today.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what? And she said, she didn't say what. She just said, there's building concerns. But
and at the time, she could not relay what those concerns were. We did not have the permission yet to discuss exactly what it was.
I understand that. And she just said, and I said, we have a meeting tomorrow. And she said, that's fine, you can go in there tomorrow, but you should really start taking your stuff out. She said, they wanted to take it out, like the DAV and the American Legion. My God, we pulled up and they were loading things in and they were hot. They just
So I'm not sure, again, I wasn't privy to that conversation, so I'm not sure if you misunderstood or she misinterpreted, but from my conversation with her, she did not instruct anyone to take anything out. She said personal belongings, anything that you might want that you need to take with you so that you don't have to come right back into the building.
Well,
so
I don't know what, have you ever seen all of our stuff?
I have. I've been in there.
It's a treasure to us in the history of this city.
And I absolutely understand that.
And I feel that the city should find us a place. I really do. Because these poor people, you know. But Jennifer and I were going to meet, and then she postponed it, and then we had another date, and now we have this Friday. But, you know, she said maybe we can come up with a plan or discuss, you know. She said, do you have any idea where you'd like to go? I go, I never even thought of it, you know.
So, and even for us, this isn't comfortable for us. We have to relocate our entire staff. So
I know.
thank goodness that we had a little space here, but we had to relocate our entire staff. That's not easy for us either. I mean, situations happen, and this is a very unfortunate situation. If the communication, if there was a lapse, I can apologize for that, but I do not apologize about the fact that we had to shut the building down.
Jennifer handled it fine.
Considering the asbestos
I
and
was
so
just
forth.
shocked.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so
Just shocked.
I understand. I mean, she was shocked when I sent it, but in good conscience, and I'll say this, I have a family member who's been in that building multiple times that has a lung disease. So when I see this, that's not a safe place for her. I don't know what your ailments are. I don't know what theirs are either. So I just think, hey, I don't want it coming back that we intentionally knew that this was there and we continue to have the building open. So whatever we can do to assist the Historical Society and the DAV, that's where we are. As I stated, I had a gentleman contact me. He does a historical society somewhere. I pass this information off to Miss Iki. If she doesn't get it, she's busy with this, I can reach out. However we want to do it. We our intention is not to put you out on the street. That's not it at all.
Ms. Brommer, you have about a minute left. I did pause it
Surprised I had
during
a
the.
minute.
Yeah, no, I'm going to allow you. Got 46 seconds to be exact. I paused it.
North College Hill means everything to this group, everything. And Dan Brooks, he's been wonderful about it, and
This is our home as well. All of us live here. We love the community as well. We love the Historical Society and what the DAV does. That's crushing for us, that the work that they put into the council chambers.
right.
We're not, we've considered all of that. I have. I can't speak for everybody else. And sometimes we have to make decisions that are unpleasing to other people. And this was not an easy decision.
Came to us to tell us in person. Like, I think if you would have been there that Saturday when they were all there and we were there, because I didn't tell anybody until I got there that morning. Told them, what could we have done? Nothing. And everybody was shocked. I just think you should have been in that parking lot and said, listen, I feel terrible, but this place is bad. We need to get out.
Well, that was the purpose of Ms. Iki speaking to me, and I understand that, considering that I don't know your schedules for your meetings. Had I
Always the
known,
last Saturday of the month.
had I known your schedule, then that would have made a difference. But
I tried to call you on Saturday. I should have said missed call.
it didn't. I can even go back now and see.
It was about 10:30, between 10:30 and 11, Saturday, not when, the last Saturday of the month. Now, this is the second time off. But it just, and it said, because I got your cell.
Ms. Brommer,
Time's up.
time's up.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
I just want you to know how important this is to us and
We do hear you. Thank you, ma'am.
And are we allowed to come here the last Saturday of the month for our meeting?
Let's talk about that,
Can I come back to you if yes, please. Next we have, is this Peg Albert?
Good evening. I just wanted to say we did appreciate getting the information. I'm afraid part of my group kind of overreacted, and I would like to clarify. Someone from my group said the building was condemned, and I said that's not what I heard. And I would like them to correct that if the building has not been condemned. And I'm getting the impression it's not been. Okay, thank you. But I appreciate the offers for the help of getting things out. I'm in communication with Post 37. They're another American Legion group, and they've been meeting other places, but they have a lot of things stored in the room, and we really are hoping Public Works can help them because they're even older than I am, and they're not going to get up on a ladder to get stuff out of those cupboards that are, up at the ceiling. And we'll have to work out meeting space because we meet on the fourth Saturday, which a lot of times is the same Saturday as yours, so we'll have to kind of figure that out. But we do appreciate that, we'll be able to have our meetings here, so maybe we have to find somewhere else. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, next I have Jim O'Shea.
Sorry. I'm Jim O'Shea, Vice President of the North College Hill Chamber of Commerce. I used to be a resident here, no longer resident. However, because of the membership in the chamber, my position with the chamber, I feel that things that go on in the city are important to us. I was a little concerned when I heard that the city center was being closed or closing, and I didn't want to jump to any conclusions, but tonight it sounds like many people have some idea of why the city center was closed. I was just hoping to get an official word from administration why the city center has been closed.
Mr. O'Shea, so during you want the whole story or you just want flat out? Right now?
None of us want to be here real long.
Okay, you don't.
I think you can be very concise and we'll get the point.
So the building is closed because we had an environmental study done, and the environmental study came back that there was airborne asbestos. That we already had the mold, but the asbestos is on both sides of the building. It's in the administrative offices as well, and they say that it's airborne.
When was that study done?
I initially asked for it in the summer, but they didn't get back with us until December, January.
Of 23?
Yes.
Wasn't there a study done approximately 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, that discussed the building in general, because there was some discussion about demolishing the building or whatever because of these reasons back 8 or 10 years ago?
There was a study. I believe there was a team of people who were it was a committee whether they should fix the building, fix the roof. And so that's how it initially started. They were trying to decide if they were going to fix both sides. They decided just to fix one. So there was an environmental study done.
And did it not notice mold and...
On the other side, on the side that you were referring to be...
But the building is one whole building with an open corridor between both sides.
But when you talk about the administrative side and the other side, the administrative side, which is the side with the roof that they fixed, did not have any.
But we're not really talking about the roof, right?
So that's why the environmental study was when it was done.
Right, but again, it's the roof wasn't the cause of the asbestos and the mold.
Well, I'm not an environmental
Mr. President,
but
okay, and I guess one other question in related to the previous study: were you on council when that study was out? I believe you were
president.
You were president of council when that study came out, but it sounded like you were surprised to find out the results of the current study.
I was surprised to find out that there was asbestos and that it was on the other side of the building.
Okay, and if that was a study that was apparently given to Channel 12 News, yet I heard you say that there was no one had permission to give that information out when someone was talking to Ms. Braunwert and the other folks at the DAV and the Historical Society, but yet it's a public record, correct? So why couldn't that be talked about at that point if the record is public?
We were instructed not to speak about it at that particular meeting. So
So it would sound like
I'm not
a
sure.
cover-up of some point.
No cover up on my part.
So there's a public record that existed, but you can't talk about the public record to the public.
That's what I was told when we got to the meeting. We could not talk about it publicly. Our law director is here if you would like to ask him.
Mr. O'Shea, it's a public record. We had just received it that day or the day before, and we had not yet had a plan on how we were going to handle it, and it had not yet been requested by the public. Had it been requested by the public, we would have released it, but it had not yet been requested, and it just was a matter of timing and when we were going to release it because we didn't have a plan on how we were going to handle it yet.
Thank you. I guess it's kind of difficult to ask for something you don't know exists. And when you're talking about people in their material that's inside a building that's being contaminated by mold and asbestos, it would seem imperative that they know immediately that the study exists. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Shea. Last name I have on here is Dan Brooks.
Good evening. My name is Dan Brooks. I live at 1517 Oak Knoll Drive, North College Hill, I'm proud to say, Ohio. I came here as chairman of the Planning Commission of the City of North College Hill. As was alluded to before, I was mayor for a while. But I came here as Planning Commission chair to let you know that you'll be seeing us being one of our members, hopefully at every meeting. One of us will be here to answer any questions that you may have as far as what the Planning Commission is doing. And we'd like to keep you informed of what we're doing. There's some pretty exciting things we're talking about getting together here, a survey. That'll be coming up. That question will be coming up on Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon. It's 4:45 p.m. It's here, I guess. And everybody's invited. It's a public meeting. So 4:45 on the first Wednesday of every month, unless something comes up like COVID did last month, and we had to cancel and move things around. We are also going to be talking to and about discussing the possibility of some different types of housing that's rather unique. Right now it's pretty prevalent, not prevalent, but it's popular in Denmark. We have contacted an author and a professor that has worked in this field. We had a meeting with him, learned a lot of good things, and we're excited about the possibility. There's 2 or 3 different types of housing that we will get back to you and report to you, and I'm sure you're going to be involved. So get ready. Take a look at your checkbook. And you all know I know how to spend money, so we're good. One more minute. Good, because then I'll wrap up and say to all those affected by this unfortunate situation, I've heard a lot of people, a lot of things said, trying to find blame about who did what, when, and where, and how. But as a planning commission, the first word is planning, so that's what we do. So I invite, and I would urge members of the ladies and the DAV, many of you know me, and Linda and Jim and whoever else, try to keep it to 3, so that we could find and sit down and plan a home for you all of you, permanently, as opposed to being moved around like a bunch of dominoes or checkers or something in the future. Let's try to find it. We work, and as you know, I believe in solutions. You know, a problem, we have a problem, but we got an opportunity here to finally treat you not all as orphans, but as permanent citizens of North College Hill. And as Linda would say, one final comment, you know, pride equals community. We are celebrating Black History Month. Pride. That's the whole deal. So we salute the history. We celebrate our history. All the new citizens need to know about our history. So I would like to see a permanent home that's available for everybody to come in and visit on a regular basis. I think that's what we should strive for. So, thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you.
All right, that was all we had signed in for this evening. Mr. DeGroot, did you still want to make another comment?
I was just going to hear what Dan just said, and that is we'd be happy to.
Go to the microphone.
Yeah. Well,
TV land.
TV land.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I'm going to give you about 1 minute.
I probably don't even need that.
Perfect.
I'm going to mirror what Dan said, and that is, I think on behalf of the Historical Society, we would more than welcome the opportunity to work with the powers that be, City Council, the Planning Commission particularly, and coming together and collaborating on finding a new home for the Historical Society. It should be a permanent home, and I love what Dan said when he said, we have problems, but they present opportunities. And I think that we should seize that opportunity. And if anyone here has not been to the historical room, I don't suggest you go now. But I would more than suggest that when we get into our new home, and I'm confident we will, that we welcome one and all. And I think you'd be pleasantly surprised, if not in shock, of what you'll find by just sifting and sorting through all the stuff. It's not all organized, but if we get our new home, we will get there. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. DeGroot. You're a man of your word. You were done in less than a minute.
Yeah.
Mr. President, can I say something? Because I'm sorry, but
Mr. Dieters, please.
I'm glad that individuals had said this. First and foremost, I know how difficult this must be for you all, and I want you to understand that the mayor really struggled with making this decision and made that decision, which was really for the best interest of everybody's health and safety. And I know, maybe because I'm better at speaking than maybe other people, it happened to be a gift that I have. I'm not as good at other things, but one thing I can do is communicate. I just ask you for patience. There were a lot of things that all had to be done at once. And the first thing is the city had to be able to operate. And, in 2004, you don't just pick up a typewriter and a Rolodex and move your office. You have to get internet and you have to get bandwidth and all that. This building was not put together for that. And so Jennifer probably has been feeling like she's been drinking out of a fire hose for the last 3 weeks, and I know she has. So I'm just asking for your patience. Some of those things kind of on a triage list. I know my military brothers here know you have to triage sometimes. Some of those things got put down the list a little bit, and maybe you didn't all feel the love that you should have felt, but that, believe me, I know you weren't forgotten. And I've been saying this to anybody who's been willing to listen to me for a while. I've been around here for a little bit longer now, and I can blame Dan Brooks over there on the right-hand side of the room for being here. I don't live in this community, but I work here, and I spend a lot of time, and it's very, very important to me. One of the great things about North College Hill, it has a tremendous history, and it has a tremendous amount of diversity. And so it has an amazing mix of people. The city needs your help right now. But this is a great opportunity. Our facilities in the city in general, from the fire department, the police department, the administrative buildings, our facilities were in significantly poor shape. And this is an opportunity now to look at, we should be looking beyond just an administrative building. We should be looking at, is there real opportunities now to build a city building that might be able to house police and fire administration, community center element, places for DAVs and historical societies. And that's not something that any of us on the administrative side or the council, we need people to get involved. So I'm really happy to see you all here, and roll up your sleeves and help us, because we need the help. We have a great opportunity here, and I think we have the ability to get many federal and state grants to help us in that process. And the more help we get, the easier a job it's going to be and the quicker it's going to happen. So I apologize. I probably went over 3 minutes, but I just needed to say that.
Thank you, Mr. Dieters. And just one final thing, I do appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Passion is what makes us roll up our sleeves, as Mr. Dieters said, and get to work on some things. So very thankful for everyone coming out this evening. But we will move on to our next item on the agenda, which is legislation. We have one item of legislation on tonight's agenda. It is a second reading, resolution number 2-2024, a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2024 and declaring an emergency. All right, that was our only item of legislation this evening. Next item would be further remarks from the audience as it pertains to tonight's legislation. If anyone wants to talk about the ODOT salt contract. You want to talk about the ODOT salt contract?
No, if only I knew something about it, I might.
We will move on to old business.
Mr. President.
Ms. Zorb?
Kind of along the lines of the topic that Ms. Dewald brought up when we were talking about the agenda, can we possibly schedule a meeting to finish our discussion on council rules? Or are we going to wait until for another month for the rules meeting?
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
I'm perfectly amenable to scheduling a meeting so that we can get it done and get some decisions made.
So do we want to schedule a committee meeting, a special council meeting, a committee of the whole meeting? What's wishes of council?
If you're asking my opinion, since I brought up the topic, I'll say committee of the whole is probably best. I don't know. Can probably be done on any of those avenues.
If you're actually asking for a weigh-in, I would believe committee of the whole.
So I would be good this week. My wife is having surgery next week, so I am not going to be available.
I'm available Thursday this week. That's the only day I have opening.
I am not available, Mr. President, I'm sorry.
Ms.
I'm not
Underwood?
available this week,
You're not available this week?
no.
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein?
so if you're not available this week, next week is our committee meetings. Then the following week is our council meeting. Is there some reason that we need to push it above or rush it to be pushed up on the calendar? I mean, we can't just wait until the 28th or what is that, the 26th?
I'm
Ms.
fine with
Zorb?
that.
I mean,
Wow.
I mean, I know you did express some urgency.
Well, I don't know that saying the end of 2 months in is rushing it. I mean, the charter says the organizational meeting should happen by January the 10th. And this could conceivably be part of that organizational meeting.
Well, I want to be clear. We had our organizational meeting by the 10th.
We had an organizational meeting before the 10th, yes.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
this topic has been brought up several times throughout the last couple of years to look over the council rules. If you're not available this week, next week, then maybe Ms. Dukestein has hit on an idea. Maybe we should just combine it for the 26th, and then you and I don't have to worry about an agenda.
Mr. Watt, Mr. President.
Ms. Brunner?
Mr. Watt, are you saying just have it on a regular rules and policy day?
Correct.
I know, okay.
We've moved, I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Ms. DeWald?
We've moved those meetings around to get other items on there that we need to work on. So at this point, right now, I don't have anything pressing in public safety. And I don't know what Ms. Underwood has in her committee. Is there anything pressing?
Just the rules, the council rules.
Well, look at that.
Is that amenable to you, Ms. Zorb?
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other old business? Okay, hearing none. New business. So we had also approved the council calendar, but we have now changed the address of where we're having our meetings. So I would like to update the council calendar to include the senior center at 1586 Goodman Avenue is the meeting location until further notice. I would like to have a motion and a vote.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I don't have the calendar in front of me to know, is there anything special you need me to say other than update the
Mr. Dieters?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear it.
So the question is, as far as the motion to do this, what is there anything special in the language or just?
I don't even really think you need anything as long as we update the location.
As long as the location is updated on everything?
On the website. I don't
Okay.
think you need to do anything.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
are you including the website on that?
Yes, that would include the website, the calendar, all postings would all include
I think you
this as
President
the
could
address.
you as president could just direct the city administrator to do it. I think that's fine.
Okay. Ms. Zeki, please update everything. Regarding the address change.
It has been updated.
I thought it had, so thank you. Great
It's already
job.
been done.
That would include all your committee meetings too.
Yes, that's everything on the calendar. All right, any other new business then?
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein?
I have a question for administration. So previously, we weren't coming in this building because you guys felt that it wasn't ready for occupancy. And I know that there's a levy out there because this is actually deemed the senior building. So how does that work with us meeting here and inviting others into the space? I'm just asking because I'm concerned, but not necessarily saying that this isn't the right space to be in. I just don't know what we have ahead of us, considering that we need a space to meet, and we did make very vivid promises and concrete promises to them as well. And we had decided to push off occupying this building for them based on its readiness.
We did. That was a question that I had. So I will.
Yeah, Ms. Dukestein, the levy revenues, as long as senior activities take place, that's what the levy revenue is attached to, are the activities, not necessarily the location of the activities. So as long as we make arrangements for those to continue here or somewhere, we're fine. There's no particular issue.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
on that same note, Madam Mayor, do you know what days the senior center meets in here for, what is it, chair volleyball and?
It's Monday and Wednesday. Is it 10? 9 to noon.
Okay, thank you.
Any other
Mr.
new?
President, I
Mr.
think
Dieters?
I've told a couple people too, if your committees are relatively small, our conference room in our office is typically open. So, especially if it was in the evening. So, if we really get tight with space, I could offer, your committee meetings at least could be in our conference room. We just have to make sure we made arrangements to let the public know that's where they are.
Okay, thank you. Any other new business?
Mr. President,
Ms. Brunner?
like Mr. Dieter stated, this is a good opportunity for us to start looking for something new, a new building. We do need a new building, right? So I think this is a perfect opportunity instead of just keep putting it off and off. Like the DAV, the Legion, and the Historical Society. Like Mr. Dieters was saying, this is a time to find grants. This is a time for us to start looking for. This is the elephant in the room. This is why we all here. So I think we should start addressing that as new business and going forth with that.
Thank you, Ms. Brunner. Any other new business?
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
hearing none, I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn.
Mr. President,
Ms. DeWald?
I'll second that.
Motion by Ms. Zorb to adjourn, second by Ms. DeWald. Any discussion? I will Call the roll. Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. DeWald?
Yes.
Ms. Dukestein?
Yes.
Ms. Alexander?
Yes.
Ms. Brunner?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
That motion passes 6-0. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.